Wait, Master. There is something I must know.
If into the security recordings you go, only pain will you find.
I must know the truth, Master.
Star Wars is for everyone.
For everyone.
For everyone.
For everyone.
For everyone.
Star Wars is for everyone. Regardless of race.
Regardless of religion.
Regardless of gender.
Or identity.
Not every show, movie, comic book, collectible, or video game will be your favorite.
And that's okay.
Social media should be a place where we can share our love for the franchise.
Without being attacked for what we enjoy.
There is no room for bigotry.
Misogyny.
Or racism in the galaxy far, far away.
All I got to say, the Jedi have returned.
We're just fanatics out here waiting on Return of the Jedi. 3 years in the making. We were waiting for this.
Some people don't idolize Darth Vader like I do. See, I want him to get Luke.
And I think that Luke will destroy Darth Vader.
I guess Darth Vader will die. I'm not sure. I hope he doesn't. I love his black.
Everyone must have his own ticket. Please have your ticket ready. Going in now for immediate main floor and balcony seating. Hold your own ticket as you enter the theater, please. Move it, move it, move it!
Finally, the wait is over. The fantasy unfolds.
surprise was to see all of them together at the end playing pinochle and having a great time. I wished I was there, and I'm going to try to get a part of the next movie myself.
This has left me practically utterly speechless, actually, but it was the best one ever.
The big surprise was seeing Darth Vader unveil himself to his son. It was very exciting.
The biggest surprise? Well, I don't want to give it away to anybody.
Do you think it was worth coming to this late at night?
Yeah.
Good over evil, always.
The movie was perfect. It was exactly the way it had to be. It was a fantastic movie, but it was good. It was really, really good.
But then we find out why you shouldn't get someone like her to explain science.
All living things are connected
By midichlorians.
by the same thread.
No, they're not. It doesn't go from one thing to another thing to another thing. Not a chain. It's everywhere.
It's an energy field around us, penetrates, binds the galaxy together.
But we know the thread is not a power you wield.
You just wielded it.
Pull the thread, change everything.
That's not how it works. Fate exists in Star Wars.
Ties you to your destiny.
How could it be your destiny if you can change it?
Change everything. Ties you to your destiny.
That doesn't even make any sense. So this thread ties you to your destiny, but if you pull on the thread, then you change it, even though it still leads you to your destiny, which is now different than your previous destiny, which can't have been your destiny, because it wasn't Who wrote the script? Eileen and Jasmine. I could have guessed that, and something else. The Acolyte has a writer that's never seen Star Wars. Here's how they made the show even better in episode 3, by getting everything wrong, because they've never seen Star Wars.
It's about sacrificing a part of yourself. The power of many instead of the power of one.
Well, you really know how to sell it, love, don't you? Basically, I take all of your power. You give your power to me, because I'm a Sith Lord, you see. Basically invented the estrogen USSR. Ends about as well, actually. This is what happens when you take something men made and then feminize it. Interpretive dance. Oh, the almost Hadouken there as well. I'm just like, there's no way you filmed this and thought this looks good. I want someone at Disney to show Bob Iger this scene and go, that cost $180 million. Then duck, because he's gonna throw something at you.
If you were in Star Wars, would you be on the light or the dark side?
Dark side. Yeah, 100% dark side. Dark side user right here. So sorry, but the dark side is cooler.
You were blessed with a miracle, the gift of life.
We perverted the Force and made a child.
The dark side is pleasure, biological, and temporary, and easy to achieve. The light side is joy, everlasting, and difficult to achieve. One is selfless, one is selfish, and you want to keep them in balance. What happens when you go to the dark side is it goes out of balance, and then you get really selfish and you forget about everybody.
The best parts about Star Wars is there is no good or evil. It depends on what side you're standing on, truly. You know what I mean?
But if you can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people.
Man, another sucker thinking he can destroy the Death Star. I've got you now, you son of a bitch.
Man, that bastard from a messed up family just shot us.
Look, that's the hole. Get your torpedo in there, Anderson.
Dang, I forgot to put in my contacts this morning.
Dude, just shoot.
Alrighty. So, what was that about Padme earlier?
Nothing. Death Star gone. Carry on.
This is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you bracing yourself?
Star Wars.
In my world, nerds are gay.
Okay. And are you telling me, with a straight face, that C-3PO is straight?
They're a couple. That's what I think. But this is more outward.
I think it's canon that R2-D2 is a lesbian.
Hey! Fuck you!
Yes.
Being able to access your emotions, but using your emotions for good.
Because when you get selfish, you get stuff. Or you want stuff. And when you want stuff and you get stuff, then you are afraid somebody's going to take it away from you. Whether it's a person or a thing or a particular pleasure, experience. Once you become afraid that somebody's going to take it away from you or you're going to lose it, then you start to become angry.
Just like Mother Anna say, I would be questioning the whole system of saying what is light and what is dark. I think definitely Jodie Turner-Smith would be like not existing inside of either side.
I guess I'd be gray, but my lightsaber would be red. Okay. I don't know.
People are going to see this and be like...
As the Acolyte is crashed and burned, getting absolutely destroyed by fans, Amanda Stenberg decided to hit back with an intellectual response. No, I said an intellectual response. Should have stuck to the violin, really, shouldn't she? Let's face it, if you want to convince anyone that isn't Leslie Headland that you're correct, you need a stronger argument than, this is my minge.
Just sicken me to my stomach. You're no Star Wars fan in my mind.
Much as we all respect the intellectual opinion of somebody that enjoys dancing at a furry convention in a bunny rabbit costume. Oh my God. There are other Acolyte topics that need discussing, like how Leslie Headland believes that capitalizing a word changes its definition. A particularly weird statement when we already have her on film saying this.
I would say arguably the gayest Star Wars.
People have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I'm frankly into it.
Fuck you! And so, we get the most farcical scene ever to have been shown in any Star Wars series ever. I know, it's going some, but somehow, they managed it. Remember, they're proud of this.
Power of one, power of two, power of many.
It's gonna be that for about another 10 minutes. Feels like an eternity.
The power of one.
Hadouken! Hadouken!
Two, the power of many.
I just love they can only count to 2. That's my favourite bit. 1, 2, more than 2. It's gonna be many, innit? Yeah, 1, 2, many. What happens when you don't have blokes around to uphold civilization? The natural decline of a tribe that has no reason to exist. This episode is farcical in the extreme. We actually go from this in the recap
2 Jedi to kill after Torben. We'll kill one of them without a weapon and please the Master.
to this for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
I don't need to kill a Jedi without a weapon. I don't need to keep this deal. What?
And we get so many hints that Ezra Miller is the Sith.
It's impossible. It's not impossible.
That at this point, if he isn't, they're just deliberately lying to you so they can have a twist come out of nowhere, which is still perfectly possible, because these people understand absolutely nothing about writing or Star Wars lore when they're putting a guy into the show who isn't born yet.
What are people going to say to defend this? Why is Ki-Adi-Mundi here? He's not supposed to be here. Man, it's no, man. You went the same guy. No.
Ah. Mundi was granted an exception to be married because of his species' low birth rate and had 5 wives. Although when your head is shaped like that, I think we can all see the appeal.
I became a total slag.
Multifunctional. The Acolyte is set at 132 BBY, and he was born in 93. Whoops. The rerun even includes footage of the Wookiee. Which is useful, because that's all he's gonna do.
Identify yourself.
I'm a Sith Lord? How come you're so slow?
Stand down!
He hasn't done anything. He's just walked up to you. I'm just like, okay, all the time he's very slowly walked up to me. Why am I not very slowly walking backwards? This is just like with the flying insect. She's always up front and can't do anything. Well, all the Jedi who can are behind her. I do kind of appreciate that she's a sacrificial lamb, no one cares about her attitude. Just send her in first. We'll find out if it's dangerous when she's been in there. I'm just not sure that's what the show's going for. He activates his lightsaber, though. Evaded! And then they pull all theirs, and at this point you're like, okay, this is gonna be a good fight. And then I was pissed. There's like 8 of them, and admittedly, her flying out the way, very funny. But then to do it to 8 Jedi, we're like, what? No way. Didn't even struggle and is that powerful yet.
In 2022, a group of internet misfits started a podcast covering the decline of entertainment. These men and one furry promptly went to a bar and drank some Pepsi. Today, they survive as internet warriors of justice. If you have a woke jackass subverting your expectations, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the War on Pop Culture.
Hey, you guys remember when Star Wars used to be fun? You remember when Star Wars used to be good? You remember when everybody loved Star Wars, regardless of your race, gender. Hell, we'll even throw in sexual orientation. I remember those days. It was before 2012, where everything seemed to be pretty good. You know what I mean?
Right.
I miss those days.
Me too.
Yep.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the War on Pop Culture. This is episode 27. I'm your host, Special Agent Spooky Clutter, joined as always by my fellow co-hosts.
Special Agent Carter Furball Sauce.
And Special Agent Daner the Draft Slayer Bobaner. And I'm here to say, I am suddenly longing for the good old, maybe not good old days, but I never thought I'd see the day where I would prefer Harvey Korman in Dragon Blackface on a cooking show in a fucking Star Wars holiday special.
God.
We're at that point, and hopefully Rez shows up because he's been saying it. He's been saying that he would take the holiday special over most of what Disney would be, pushing out on the assembly line of sludge.
I mean, it's dog shit versus cat shit. One's slightly less stinky, but they're both still shit. But the cat buries its turds in litter. The holiday special.
It's been a while since we've done War on Pop Culture, hasn't it? I think it's been several months. At least 3. At least. That I remember. A lot's happened.
First time we've had that intro, by the way.
It's true. I did tease it in one of our previous watch-along streams. I don't know if you guys even remember. I did tease it a while back. I was just waiting for the right time to do it, but here we are. A lot's happened in pop culture. A lot that we're not going to talk about all of it tonight because tonight we're going to focus mainly on Disney Wars because the Acolyte is such a hot topic right now. Like a really hot, shitty topic.
Scalding hot topic, it seems.
No, freshly steaming pile, fresh from the source topic.
Scalding is a lot hotter than that.
That's why it's called scalding. The point is that once again, we're going to be here saying Disney Wars, Star Wars is dead. I'm not going to say it's dead because it is what it is.
Star Wars itself will never be dead. Disney Wars, however, I mean, it's going the way of the dinosaurs, if you ask me.
Here's the problem, though. I think that this is something that some of us want to overlook. It's just, for me, myself right now, looking at everything in retrospect, for the public view, Star Wars is a tainted brand. We can sit here and try and differentiate between Star Wars and Disney Wars. The problem is that the public, the people that aren't fans, the people that weren't there from 77 onward or 99 and onward, for them, Star Wars is Star Wars. So they see The Acolyte, a Star Wars show, or Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Star Wars show.
You look at
Star Wars show. I have a problem with just calling it a Star Wars. I mean, look, I like Rogue One, but Rogue One, a Star Wars story, just call it Star Wars Rogue One. I mean, I think everyone else just calls it that, or simply Rogue One. That's fine. I just don't care for the A in a fucking movie title or any title, really, because it just makes it seem like, oh, by the way, it's part of this. It's kind of like Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, not Power Rangers Turbo, the movie. Like it's just that you got to put a little more significance on the title, especially when it's a fucking big ass brand as big as Star Wars.
Or like they did in Game of Thrones when the original title was called A Song of Fire and Ice. Well, except that was for the book.
I wouldn't know. I don't know shit about Game of Thrones other than it's fantasy, but has a lot of nudity in it. So,
I mean, that's what it's known for.
It's basically if you took Lord of the Rings and gave Like if you let Quentin Tarantino take the reins of fucking Lord of the Rings, gave him the reins.
Objection, slander, blasphemy. Why would you compare Game
Objection.
of Thrones?
Okay, if you say objection, I say objection sustained. Proceed with the testimony. I got the hammer here. I got to do that.
I will appoint you to that position. How about that?
Sweet.
Okay. First of all, don't compare Game of Thrones to Lord of the Rings. All right.
No.
That's like trying to compare Game of Thrones to Dungeons and Dragons.
Or Star Wars to Star Trek.
There you go. Let's get back on track.
Anyway.
Star Wars in the public eye is tainted. As in, once the ship fully crashes and burns, people aren't going to touch it. The clever people, the people that have hope that something can be salvaged, yeah, we'll see it. Star Wars isn't going to die. In the hearts of people who have stuck with this franchise, you can push it aside. On an individual level, you can do that. The problem is that the public view of Star Wars is not a very good one. It's kind of like how Marvel has been on a very steep decline because of the shite that they've been pumping out. Again, for fans of the MCU, you can hold on to the good and say, yeah, this is never going to get old for me. The thing is, we're not looking at just from our perspectives. We got to look at the perspective of a business, right? Because at the end of the day, all this stuff is a business. Okay. So if this stuff is not making money, they're going to toss it aside. Now, they're not going to easily toss it aside, Star Wars, I mean, because it's Star Wars. It's been around for 40 plus years, though, as we've seen with Disney and Doctor Who, that franchise being around for 60 plus years, and that that is a whole other animal, especially with the series finale this time around. Sidetrack, but still in relation because it's all under Disney. Of course, Disney's only the sort of face or figurehead of it. You have the inner workings that are the big issue, where you have something like The Acolyte, where you bring in a veteran actress like Carrie Ann Moss, and you kill her off in the first episode. That's the first dumb thing. Why would you bring someone like her into this project only to kill her off right in the beginning? And the way that she died was stupid. My recommendation, go watch Disparu's videos covering the series because he does an excellent job at breaking the stuff down.
You gotta love the lack of consistency when it comes to certain wounds in Disney Wars. A fucking little throwing knife or whatever that thing was into the chest, dead. Slashed across the chest by a lightsaber off screen, dead. Impaled with a fucking lightsaber, nah, it'll be fine. I'm sorry. Sorry, but sometimes I am gift wrapped the opportunity to butcher a really bad Critical Drinker impression. Because really, that's how it is anymore. Just walk it off. You're gonna be fine. Next thing you know, people are gonna get fucking beheaded and get their heads reattached.
Well, let's see, because in episode 5, spoilers for anyone who actually cares.
You can cut your hair with a lightsaber.
Well, not just that. So Daphne Keane, the actress who plays X-23 in Logan, she's in this series. Okay, and you didn't know?
No.
Oh, you didn't know? You didn't know? Yeah, she's in it. She's in it, and she dies in episode 5. She gets stabbed with a lightsaber 3 times.
Wait, you mean to tell me that I know which character you're talking about? That's her.
That's short, white hair with a white face with the little spikes. Yeah, that's her.
What the shit?
And they were trying to imply some kind of like a lesbian thing between her and one of the Amanda's twins things.
I saw what happened. I watched Nerdrotic's video earlier, and I saw like a stab.
Yes.
Like three ends of the fucking triangle.
Right. Correct. Yeah, that was Daphne Keane. Her character is in and out. Now, there's a lot to that episode. Like, for example, the Sith Lord, most predictable plot twist, first of all. But that's not even the worst of it, okay? He takes on 8 Jedi and finishes them off easily. He's able to defeat a Jedi Master. Not as easy, but easy enough. But the moment he goes up against the Padawan, Daphne Keen, he struggles. You want to talk about inconsistency?
Yeah.
You want to talk about rehashing? That fucking helmet.
Basically, this is how the pitch for it went. Let's put a smile on that face. Really, everything about it is just, it's Kylo Ren. It's like they just took this part of it and it's like put a smile on it.
Yeah.
But then again, I've always found the shape of Ren's helmet to be a bit too derivative, but slightly different, almost like similar to Vader's, like at least the back end where it kind of folds there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But again, at least it was something and not just complete rehash. But it didn't serve much of a purpose other than to make him look intimidating.
You want to know something funny? Once again, we are presented with another dark side user that is supposed to be ominous and dangerous. What do? They take his mask off. They take his mask off. Ever since the sequel trilogy, he's taking his mask off. It's like with Boba Fett. They take his mask off so many times. It's like, what are you doing? Stop showing these faces. It's not that I have something against Adam Driver or Tamora Morrison. It's just, if you're trying to present to us an intimidating character, I don't want to see their face. You want to know something about Darth Vader? You never get to see his face until the end of the trilogy. Okay? For the rest of the time, you saw that ominous black mask. All right?
It was a big deal.
What is the mentality of unmasking these people? And then he starts opening his mouth.
Yeah.
So
I get
Ezra Miller,
just
a
fashion thing. It was just a fashion thing for these guys, I guess. Just, I mean, I look like a reject, like some kind of Snape Jr. reject. I'm not intimidating enough. Can I wear a mask, please, Master? And yeah, then even with Snoke saying, take that ridiculous thing off. It's like,
even though he never really had a problem with that mask prior.
Again, subverting expectations. But while we're still on the topic about like these mysterious characters that are way more intimidating if they keep their fucking masks on, give the Mandalorians some credit. They kept it very minimal, at least when they did it. I mean, we're talking about hero here, but again, they had a reason for doing it. Like, okay, I can't get in with my mask on. I have to take it off. But yes, I still prefer he just kept the damn thing on, no matter what. Because as cool as the character of Mando was, at least for seasons 1 and 2, I never saw 3. I'm just going to say Pedro is not an intimidating guy.
No,
like he's not. Once that mask came off, I'm like, that's what he looks like.
Well, damn.
He's not intimidating at all.
Kind of confusing, the whole thing, isn't it?
Also, to add,
I get
to
that could be
that,
the idea, but still.
Also, the thing you mentioned about like him about the mask thing coming off early. Do you know how stupid that is? That's about as stupid as watching Scream, and we already know who the fucking killer is in about 5 minutes. Like we already know. Like, well, damn. That's the thing, though. We don't see the fucking killers until the third act, or we don't see their faces. At least when damn it, what's that fucking bitch's name? Casey. When Casey ripped off Ghostface's mask, we never get to fucking see it. We'd never see who the killer is. That's fucking smart. This motherfucker, on the other hand, just fucking takes it off for the first 5 minutes. Like, what the fuck? Like, you want to be intimidating? Don't fucking take the mask off. We don't want to see your fucking face. It ruins the illusion.
It's not just that, though. Like, we're only halfway through this fucking show. Like,
where's the mystery of who's behind?
What mystery? What mystery? What is the mystery? This is supposed to be a murder mystery. Remember that. They advertise this as a murder mystery. Okay, we see who murders the Jedi Master. It's May.
You can't
Then
the point of the mystery is letting us figure out who it is. You don't show it and then, oh, but the characters don't know.
Then you have
There's
the
nothing to get invested in.
You have Ezra Miller. All right, he is a Sith.
Ezra Miller.
He has announced himself in the episode as, you can call me Sith. Okay. You remember when people were like, oh, just wait for the show. Wait for the show. They might be able to explain it. Look, all right. Even if they do explain, just hold on. Just hold on to that. All right. This is set 100 years before the Phantom Menace.
Oh God.
Okay. You have Sith here. I have a feeling that Asian Ezra Miller here isn't going to be the only Sith. I have a feeling that there's going to be another. Regardless of whether or not there is more than one, because we always know there are a master and apprentice. Okay.
Possibly
because
no
this is
more, no less.
Watch. Because this is so close to the Phantom Menace, you're walking a very fine line between breaking canon and barely keeping the canon. My question is, why would you set your series that's going to have Jedi and Sith at a time period that's so close to a movie where the very plot is reliant on the fact that the Sith were not seen for over 1,000 years? When Kiadi Mundi says that the Sith have been extinct for over a millennia, that doesn't mean that the Sith are non-existent. It means that they are in the shadows. They are operating without the Jedi knowing. That's the Phantom Menace. The title of the movie is literally that. It's all about the Sith finally revealing themselves. What did Darth Maul say? What did he say?
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
That line is important because from then on, the entire plot for the prequels into the original trilogy, the entire saga, is all reliant on the fact that the Sith are finally revealing themselves after 1,000 years of peace. Okay? But when you have Asian Ezra Miller here present, when you have the Sith present, somebody knows. And even if everybody that knows that the Sith are back dies, what was the whole point? Think about that. Why would you have all this buildup only for the mystery just to get covered up again? It's almost like this series is a waste of time. You know what I mean? Like, why couldn't you set this series 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago? Have it to where the Sith and the Jedi are very much active against each other, where you wouldn't have a problem with having Sith, because we know that they'd be still around. As long as it doesn't interfere with the Phantom Menace, who gives a fuck? Who cares?
And who is the catalyst to that interference? Jedi Master Dickhead. Mr.
The Sith have been extinct for millennia.
I've been hearing some rumors and theories that Kiadi Mundi is going to be part of a cover-up. He's going to know about the Sith. Then he's going to cover it up.
That sounds like lazy writing. I mean, we already see how Wikipedia is so quick to go and change everything on the site and just say, okay, we got to change it, make sure it fits Disney Wars canon.
By the way, if you say anything about pronouns being a basic language tool, we'll block you.
Yeah, it happened to me, by the way.
Ouch.
Well, that's right.
I'm
you were blocked by Wikipedia.
Ouch, I'm fucking proud of it. I was laughing the whole time.
Wear it like a badge of honor.
I do.
Yeah. Oh, fuck you, Wikipedia.
But anyway, I want to go back to this Asian Ezra Miller reveal thing. How could you make this reveal worse than, dare I say, Rings of Power? Now, it was obvious. It was painfully obvious that Halbrand was Sauron.
Yeah.
Painfully obvious. But at least they waited for a better time for the characters to figure that out. I can't believe we could be at a point where we're listing fucking Rings of Power as a positive example. That is not okay. Because it's still fucking terrible. If we're already calling who it is right before the big reveal, then you fucked up. Again, You can't have a mystery if you just fucking gave us all the information we need to really just know the entire mystery. Like, there's nothing to solve. You told us everything. That's what the Acolyte did. We know who's killing the Jedi. And, but that's okay, because
she's just misunderstood, because in the flick of a switch, oh, I don't need to kill the Jedi.
I'm going to turn myself in.
Oh, wait, the Jedi are trying to bring me in.
Oh, no, gotta resist now. Make up your damn minds.
Like, do you want to fight or do you want to surrender? It's not that easy.
But remember, this is they're supposed to be the protagonists, right? And to the show's credit, and I only say this because we don't have the rest of the story yet, but we still have another plot that hasn't been uncovered yet about the mystery of the death of the witches. You know, when the rock building caught fire, like the entire place got engulfed in flames, even though it's like 90+% rock.
Yeah,
because
how's that
as we all know, I mean,
rock is the most flammable substance in the world. I mean, well, at least it is in a galaxy far, far away. I mean, fire could do whatever it wants in Star Wars. It could burn stone buildings down. It could fucking be going on in the vacuum of space.
Oh, God.
Fire just burns what it wants.
You know what I've noticed?
You're not supposed to question it. It's a fantasy movie about space wizards for kids.
You know what I've noticed? Disney Wars keeps adding stuff to the lore, or just adding shit that just breaks canon. Like, we got people getting stabbed with lightsabers that are surviving, force healing, weaponized hyperspace. I mean, direct changing of canon. Like, they don't care. That too. But just watch this, all right? They're going to end up recontextualizing the entire saga, if they haven't already. This whole thing with how the twins were created, it's already doing that as it is. Of course, with Disney and Disney Wars, it can always get worse. Because we thought that The Last Jedi was the pinnacle of bullshit. Then Rise of Skywalker came out. Then after Rise of Skywalker, we got Book of Boba Fett. Then we got Obi-Wan Kenobi. Look, I'm never going to get over the fact that Obi-Wan stuffed Leia in a big-ass trench coat, walked through a heavily occupied Imperial hangar bay, and nobody stopped them. I'm never going to get over that.
Sir, you seem to have an extra pair of legs on you. And apparently Obi-Wan doesn't know how to just go around. You know, you could just walk around the fucking force field there. You could just go around it. No, okay. We'll waste time.
Or just do that little fucking mind trick thing, like, there's nothing to see here.
Everything is so stupidly convenient, but Disney, they're just throwing every contrivance in the book at us now. Like, getting stabbed, nah, it's just a flesh wound.
Yeah,
tell that to tell that to fucking Qui-Gon, you asshole.
Tell that to Han Solo.
Oh yeah, him too. How could I forget?
Oh yeah, he fucking got stabbed and he fell to his death.
I'm pretty sure he was already dead.
Yeah, before he hit the ground.
And then,
I mean, credit to Force Awakens. You get stabbed with a lightsaber, you're dead, right? Keep it with the canon, right?
I guess, but that's how you're gonna give Han Solo his big send off. Just dies a sad old man past his prime who couldn't reconnect with his son.
Oh,
yeah, because that's what I wanted to see.
Oh,
deadbeat dad killed by emo kid with a lightsaber.
Oh,
hey, it could always be worse.
Hey, don't fucking get me started on the Finn, how he got knocked out.
What was that?
Nuking the fridge.
Oh, God damn it. But I was about to say,
nuking the fridge over getting stabbed with a lightsaber and surviving. Sorry.
Fair enough.
Fair enough, but like, and Finn, he gets fucked up by Kylo in the back. Like, how? Like, if it was regular Star Wars, yeah, he would have been cut in half and dead in the story. But no, he just gets a big old scar on his back. Like, what
Well,
the
see, that's the
fuck?
thing. It seems like, and this really did start with the return of Darth Maul, I would say. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the fact that Maul came back. It's just how, you know, like being consistent. Okay, Qui-Gon gets stabbed and he dies, but Maul gets cut in half and he doesn't die. It's off. All right,
But-
I 100% acknowledge it.
I hate that. I mean, I hate what motivated them to bring him back, but at the same time, I kind of love it because I have a love-hate relationship with the whole thing. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I wish we got more of Darth Maul in the prequel trilogy as a whole.
Yeah.
Like maybe don't make it seem like he's fucking deader than a fucking dinosaur when he gets cut in half. Don't do that. Have it seem like he's presumed dead. And maybe have him return in Revenge of the Sith. Like maybe that's the general instead of Grievous. I would have been more than okay with that, by the way. And have Obi-Wan fight him on Utapau. Like one more showdown. And that would have even made the your move even better, if you ask me. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I can see that.
But what really inspired the writers over at Star Wars to bring back Darth Maul? Simply put, fan love. The fans fucking love that character. That's also why they brought back Boba Fett. Fans liked these characters, and we saw the potential that they had. It's like they deserve more than this. Give us a little more. Just give us some outlandish explanation. We're willing to suspend our disbelief, but we have our limits, right? Yeah. Like, again, what if next thing you know, someone's going to get fucking decapitated in Disney Wars, but just a scratch to them.
Maybe they'll hold
Just
their
real
head
tight.
in place. Like before it falls off, they'll catch their head and just hold it there and then run to an ER and they'll just stitch it back together.
Toss. Oh shit! Oh my god! Throw it into that nearby Bacta tank. Slam dunk.
Oh,
Hey, you guys remember the Clone Wars animated series, the mini series, the one that was done by
That's just Star Wars Clone Wars.
Right. Yes.
Not the
Okay.
Clone Wars.
So you guys remember the bounty hunter Dirge, right?
Right.
Okay. Have something like that where it's like he's almost like the Thing, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
To a certain extent, you know, having the detachable limbs and I mean, like he gets his arm cut off and he grows a new one. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going.
Kind of sounds like the guy from the X-Files.
Let me think about it. Oh God, what
Just
episode
saying.
was it? I'm sorry, I can't remember. It's been a while.
It's in
All right.
season 2. I'm about to get started on season 2 yet again.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I can't watch the current shit, I'll just watch some old shit. But it's not shit.
Fair enough. I don't know. I want to pass it off to the audience. If anybody else is still here watching, let us know what you think about the Acolyte.
Yeah, please. If you like it, please tell us why. Don't worry.
fucking hate it.
We're not going to mock you.
I'm just going to question.
As long as you give us good reasons.
I'm going to question your logic, but it's all about the discussion, right? Like, for example, you know, since we're on the topic of people surviving lightsaber stabs, you guys remember when Reva survived getting stabbed as a Padawan?
Twice.
Oh no, I'm just sticking to the first time.
I know the point. I know that's worse. Though. Like Padawan, she's a fucking kid, and Anakin just walks up, like he doesn't just ignite the lightsaber on her. He quite literally does this. Like he goes for a straight jab. Like that's a kill. That's a kill shot. That is a fucking kill shot, and somehow she survived.
And she didn't. Not only did she survive, but she managed to join in the Inquisitors.
Like again.
So what? He just stabs her. They walk off. She walks off getting stabbed. Did anyone provide medical attention? I mean, clearly they did because she survived. It's just the suspension of disbelief. All right, Qui-Gon got dealt a dirty stick. You know that. Like seeing this all in retrospect, he got dealt dirty, and it's
Yeah, the way he got it though, it was like Qui-Gon just like did this and just did the whole like he literally like Qui-Gon was about to bring his blade down, and Maul just like pushed his lightsaber up like this and just like
Yeah, he dropped his
not
lightsaber
today.
when that happened. Like,
Yeah.
it quite literally dropped behind him, and off it went. But, like, and look, I think I should say it now since we were just talking about her. The problem with that character of Reva was the writing. The idea was fine, but poorly executed. Like, if they didn't have her like get stabbed, but a young lady who, just like apparently so many others who apparently survived Order 66, who decided I'm going to bring this guy down because I don't know, like maybe she witnessed Anakin kill her master and he told her to like hide or something, and she witnessed it and vowed revenge and became an Inquisitor to get closer to Vader. It's all about execution, but again, her motivations just were all over the fucking place. Like, what are you doing here? You want to be the Grand Inquisitor, but then you also want to kill Vader's children that he doesn't even know fucking exist. You couldn't even get a 10-year-old girl to crack in an interrogation. Like, you're failing really bad. And ultimately, what was your big goal? What was your big assassination attempt? Walk up behind him and make this noise. Yeah! Nice battle cry. I'm sure that's going to intimidate the guy who just pulled down a fucking ship with his mind.
Like, yeah, I mean, she could have easily just walked up behind him, not making any noise, and just do a quick.
Yeah, no, she had to make a battle cry. I'm sorry. When we talk about the most embarrassing things to ever appear in anything Star Wars, like there's a lot, and that includes the George Lucas era. I'm not gonna dispute that. I mean, some of it is just like the cheese that was kind of a product of the time, particularly with the original trilogy. You got some of the really bad, cringy romance dialogue in particularly Attack of the Clones. You get some of Jar Jar's scenes, which are just not that funny. You get
saving what we love.
And fucking
thank you for
Last
reminding me of
Jedi.
that.
I have to. This is why we're here. But then you get that part where she is screaming at him. Like she's just yelling at him as he's stopping her from killing him. That scream alone might be the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. Like for someone who's trying to be an intimidating badass, to see them fail that horribly. Like, also remember, he kicks her in the ankle and down she goes. Like that's when she's at his mercy. He kicks her in the fucking ankle. Now she's taking a knee.
Well,
take a knee.
Very funny. Oh, and don't I? Oh,
Great work.
And and the Grand Inquisitor, the fucking same guy we saw in fucking Star Wars Rebels for one
Which
season.
takes place after the Acolyte, or after Kenobi. Sorry, after Kenobi. So,
not to mention.
Well, hold on. I need to add this before you go on. Let me add this, all right? Because we're talking about doing unnecessary things, right? Okay. So, the Grand Inquisitor gets stabbed in Kenobi, and he's presumed dead. But we know in Rebels that he survives. And then we find out later in Kenobi that, yeah, he did survive. So then ask yourself, what exactly was the point of that scene? What was the point in showing this character die if we know that he wasn't going to end up dead anyway because he has to be in Star Wars Rebels unless they're retconning stuff, which they didn't because he still ends up surviving anyway. Continue.
And you, God damn it, you took the fucking thing out of my mouth. I was about to say that, damn it.
Sorry.
God.
Oops.
But anyway.
Look, right? Like, come on. You want to talk about consistency? They don't care about consistency. I see people complaining about the inconsistencies of the EU, right? Like, I saw a post about this on Facebook earlier today. And it's like, yeah, you know what? The EU has a lot of inconsistencies. That being said, on the topic of Luke, because this particular post was about Luke, at least with Legends Luke, he didn't decide to go to the most unfindable place in the galaxy to die.
No.
Nope.
Carry on.
Oh,
no,
and not
you're going.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, and not to mention in the comics of Obi-Wan, or there was a comic about Obi-Wan Kenobi, during his time on Tatooine. I know it's like Legends or EU or something.
Yeah, Legends, Expanding Universe, yeah.
Yes, exactly. But here's the thing, though. He didn't leave to go rescue Leia. So what the fuck was that all about? Like what the fuck was that all about? Like kidnapping Leia. I mean, what's the whole point of abandoning your one job to go rescue someone else? What the hell? And not to mention, why was Rhea so obsessed with fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi? Why? Was it part of your plan just so you could get closer to Darth Vader to kill him? Or were you just obsessed? Just what were you thinking? Because it just makes no fucking sense, though. It makes no goddamn sense.
Leia.
I mean, abandon Luke. God damn it! You
I
have
was
one.
just letting him roll. Letting him roll.
Thanks. Thank you. I was trying to say your one job. You're supposed to watch over and protect Luke. You're supposed to protect him and not leave the damn planet for anything. Yet Bail Organa, his daughter's got kidnapped, and then he wants you to go rescue his daughter, his adopted daughter. Wow.
Just remember, the writers have full control of all of that. So it didn't have to happen. It didn't have to happen.
But they wanted
Leia
it
didn't
to.
have to be kidnapped. And then Reva finds out that Darth Vader has kids. And look, once again, okay, you're setting up this danger, this threat to Luke and Leia. Or in this case, Luke. Okay? We know that nothing can happen to Luke. Otherwise, the original trilogy doesn't happen. So why exactly are you doing these unnecessary things to build up suspense, even though you know the outcome? We know the outcome. This is not an Elseworld story. This isn't an alternate timeline, okay? This is supposed to be part of the larger canon, meaning that Reva cannot kill Luke. But you know why they did it? It's because we had to have a diverse character be the true savior of the galaxy. Because if it wasn't for Reva staying her hand, then Luke would have never been able to confront Darth Vader on the second Death Star. That's their mindset. So it's fan fiction is misplaced. Misplaced fan fiction.
Indeed.
Building on very flawed suspense and story because we know where it has to go. That's one of the issues with prequels. You have to have most, if not all, your ducks in a row in order to make sure that the story that you know already happens is still being observed in the prequels. That everything that happens in the prequels leads very comfortably into the original trilogy, right? And despite some flaws, despite some inconsistencies in the prequels, for the most part, things line up where they should.
Most part.
That's what yeah. Okay.
I know.
So
I know that's the key term in this case because they had their plot holes. I'm willing to forgive them somewhat, but I have to acknowledge them too. Like I'm still critical of some of them. Like how the hell does Leia remember her mother if she died literally after giving birth to her?
Right.
That makes no fucking sense.
Right. That being said, we don't have force healing. We don't have characters that are presumed dead but didn't actually die, or characters that are about to kill other characters that can't die because they still have a story to be told. The larger picture, if you will. Not trying to ignore the smaller picture. It's just this is a consistent problem in Disney Star Wars where they continue to do things that they would affect the story going forward if they decided to go a different path. Of course, look, if Disney said, "Hey, all these sideshows, like these smaller stories, are all part of a Elseworlds, alternate universe, alternate timeline, a what if timeline," okay, that'd be one thing. As stupid as it would be, at the very least, okay, fine, it's a what if thing, so you can do whatever the hell you want. It turns out that Reva converts Vader back to the light. What if? Okay, but because
that'd be the dumbest what if. What would be the
sure it is.
Like, it's like if someone actually did come up with that, it's like you're missing the point of what made his conversion back to the light so fucking compelling. It was about the emotional state. Like, he had an emotional reason.
They don't care about logic and consistency unless it suits their needs.
They don't care about giving us well-rounded, fleshed-out characters either. As long as our cast checks off the boxes.
Or in the words of Cartman Kennedy, put a chick in it, make her lesbian and gay. Make it lame and gay.
I'm surprised I never even made that joke about Doom Annihilation yet, but first time for everything.
Right?
But
see, we watch this now. All right, because you talk about checking out the boxes, right? In the intro, I had found that clip on Reddit from Return of the Jedi. You had a lot of diverse people in those interviews.
That was
Black,
really fucking
white, Hispanic,
Asian,
but
Islanders.
The point is, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, because everyone's going to like different things no matter what. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, Hispanic, woman, fucking gay, straight, it doesn't matter. We're all going to like different things, especially when that comes to entertainment. It's all subjective. But I'm tired of this fucking notion that we are the toxic Star Wars fans who just want to be an exclusive club. No. Just like the gaming community, it's an open club. If you like Star Wars, you feel as strongly about it as the rest of us, of course, come right in. Even if you like the stuff we don't like, come on in. But you know what you got to leave at the doorstep? Your fucking corrosive ideological bullshit that you are going to use to project onto everyone else because, hey, if you don't like what I like, because, hey, I like this show, like The Assolite, which only banked on having a diverse cast. If you don't like it, that must mean you an istophobe. You come in with that mentality, get the fuck out. Or just zip it, because I'm not going to have any of that shit.
Or better yet, take a page out of the guy from the cantina. Hey, we don't serve their kind here. Your corrosive thoughts. Take him outside. Leave him outside.
I'm going to say something.
You know what
and you have to listen to what I'm saying in order to get what I'm saying. I know that sounds weird.
I'm listening.
This
redundant.
And this isn't exclusive to Star Wars. You can apply this to almost any franchise.
Yeah.
I've come to the understanding, and I'll use Star Wars as an example. Star Wars is not for everybody. That being said, it can be for anybody. Now, if you want an explanation for that, it means this. Because the science fiction genre has many different flavors to it, certain franchises are going to appeal to certain tastes. For example, you're not going to compare something like Star Wars to Back to the Future. Yes, they both deal in science fiction, but one of them is about space battles, good versus evil. The other is about time travel. Something that used to not exist in Star Wars until the paths or the world between worlds from Star Wars Rebels that gets carried on in Ahsoka. The point is that different subgenres apply to or appeal to different tastes. Okay. So when I say that Star Wars isn't for everybody, that's not an exclusionary topic or phrase. It's to acknowledge that, yeah, not everybody's going to like Star Wars. You talk to a Star Trek fan, they're going to say, oh, Star Wars fucking sucks. Star Trek is the way to go. Or vice versa. Okay? And we can all respect, like, look, I'm not a Star Trek guy. I do like Captain Kirk mainly because it's William Shatner, facial recognition, brand recognition, however you want to call it. I will acknowledge that Star Trek has its place, just like Star Wars has its place. Okay?
I'm not a fan of Doctor Who, but you guys are.
Was.
But again,
was.
But for the sake of franchise and where it succeeded.
Yes.
Like, just think of it that way. Like, again, it won't be for everyone, but it can be for anyone because it's all subjective. It's all your own subjective personal tastes. That's what's going to pique you. Now, why do I love Star Wars? Because it's what made me love movies in general. That's the thing. And again, they bank so much on how diverse they're being now that it's become their worst double-edged sword. They try and use it as a shield, but the only thing that they're doing, they are loading the gun. They are putting it to their kneecap. Not the foot, the kneecap. The most painful, non-fatal place to get shot. Every time you are marketing it as diverse and, there's Star Wars is no space for hate. Just because we don't like shit writing that you're only trying to use as a crutch to cater to certain people who only look at identity politics, we're not the toxic ones.
We have someone new in the chat. Manos DD, Star Wars woke movie. So there's a thing about woke. First of all, welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy your stay. We like to welcome all of the new guests that pop up in the chat. So welcome, first of all. Second, slowly but surely, I am working the word woke out of my vocabulary because very much like the different ists and phobes that have been thrown around for the past decade, woke is becoming one of those terms where it's losing its meaning. And whenever you try and have a conversation with somebody, you say, oh, this movie's woke. It can turn people off.
Oh, yeah.
What I prefer to say is, I'll say identity politics all day because that's what it is. When you're
or tokenization.
When you're basing movies, TV shows, and you're injecting them with divisive topics like identity politics, using race, gender, sexual orientation as a means to convey a very one-sided message. And some people may not see it that way. The problem is, no matter what you feel, like if you're a gay person, you say, oh, well, my sexual orientation isn't political. It is, because it may not be you doing it. It may be other people doing it. It is other people doing it. When you have the media...
The system is doing it.
There you go. When you have the system, the media, all these different elements that are constantly pushing it, that you have to accept this. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You take it or you die. That's essentially what the message is being pushed. That's why you have pushback. Okay? Talking about the issue of race. All right? I showed that clip from Return of the Jedi because you had an entire diverse cast of people going to see this movie. Okay? And over the years, more and more people got into it. More and more characters that were non-white were introduced that are still fan favorites, like Mace Windu. All right? Where is the racism? Where is the sexism? When you had
Mothma,
Mara Jade, Abeloth. Look, you have
Jaina Solo.
You have a lot of characters that are non-white, non-male that people love.
Technically, Boba Fett, because he's a Kiwi.
Yeah. Where's the racism? Where's the sexism? Where's all this ists and phobes? Where's the bigotry? How is it that we go from the 1980s onward? The racism, all that BS is slowly but surely being pushed out. People are being more accepting of one another. What? All of a sudden 2012 hits and the switch we start going backwards? Is that what? You can never get a straight answer from these people. Okay?
No.
They'll probably tell you that, yes, that's exactly what's happening. It's like, how though? How are we regressing? all of a sudden these movies come out with diversity as its marketing. It's not about the story. It's not about the characters. It's about these little things that they think is so important. This is why we can't get into it. You want to know why we don't like Disney Wars? Because Disney Wars is using identity politics to ruin the story of Star Wars. They, being those making this bilge, they don't care about George Lucas Star Wars. You saw in the intro, you have one of the actors, the acolyte, saying it's not about good or evil. That's exactly what Star Wars is about. That's exactly what it was.
That was the beauty of it. It was simplicity. And back to the whole like political thing, like there's injecting your own politics and making it as one-sided and biased as possible, like they're doing. Or you could do the George Lucas route where you have it based on real world politics, kind of, and just kind of giving it its own flavor in Star Wars. Like, yes, you can look at the fucking Imperial officers in the Empire and say they resemble the Yahtzees. Because, yeah, they do. That's kind of what they were going for. But again, it's not like Lucas was like flashing his political views in your face by saying, hey, like,
Hey everyone, you see this? I hate the Nazis. See? I hope you all like it. I'm a virtuous one, you see. I hate Nazis, you see. If you see a Nazi, you should punch them in the face. Oh.
Like, none of that shit.
Yeah. I mean, and if you look at it...
It fit the framework of the story because it really was about a rebelling against an oppressive empire.
Yeah,
and if you look at the
events over injecting your own beliefs into the story and expecting everyone to just fall in line. And then you get to judge them if they say, hey, I don't like this. Fuck you. You don't like this. You're a bad person. No, I just like a good story without you telling me that I'm a bad person simply because I don't like it.
You notice that the Empire in the original trilogy was very much of a singular identity.
Mm-hmm.
As in, it was mainly a bunch of white guys. But then when Disney came along, they started injecting more non-white people. And I have a problem with that for one reason. And it's the reason you already said.
Gingers. Don't forget, they added gingers and made him in charge and then turned him into a bumbling idiot.
Oh, that's
because gingers don't have souls. Yeah.
I'm talking mainly about the Empire, though, right? So...
Not the first.
You did say Disney Wars, so he kind of threw me off there.
That's true. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Don't worry about it.
So, the Empire, all right, mainly white guys. And going back to that whole thing with the Yahtzees, right, and that sort of similarity, I mean, you have stormtroopers. That's literally what they had, stormtroopers, right? So, the parallel is there. But for whatever reason, Disney was like, this group needs to be more diverse, even though they're supposed to be the villains. And you would think that these people that love identity politics, they can't shut up about it. You would think that they would have issues with that. Like, oh, you're making non-white people villains, right?
There are people on Twitter who will fucking do that. You know.
I'm sure they will. It's just, it's not happening in mass. But of course, when you have people like Leslie Henland or Amanda Stenberg saying, "Oh, dark side all the way," it's like that. You remember that clip that people keep using of Elon Musk, where it's like, the people looking good while doing evil, right?
Go fuck yourself, Bob. But I don't even get that. I mean, is it like the whole dark side all the way? Are you just trying to sound edgy or something? Like I gotta ask you this, and this is just a question for you. How far have you gotten into Knights of the Old Republic?
Not very far.
Okay, but you know how the dark side, light side, like the text you get on screen when like you achieve something, like experience points received, light side points achieved, dark side. Let me tell you, I like to get light side points in real life. Okay. Like, look, I'm not trying to do it because I am out to prove I'm such a good person. Sometimes it just comes to you. You do something good for someone and you feel good about it because you did it out of the kindness of your dumb old heart.
Sure.
So, yeah. Sorry, Amanda Stenberg. If this makes me a bad person, light side all the way. Because I like to do right by others, including exposing garbage.
Star Wars: The Acolyte Episode 3 is worst. The worst. Yeah, I mean,
I'm
it's
sure it
definitely
is.
something that broke the canon. Though I'm gonna be honest, like a lot of people are saying that this latest episode, Episode 5, is one that was the best out of the worst because there wasn't as much dialogue.
That's
The thing is,
a low bar.
I can't accept that. All right. Yes, Episode 3, garbage because they decided to introduce this idea that the witches, some random cult of witches,
Lesbian
managed to
space
do-
witches.
There you go. What Darth Plagueis was trying to do. Now, keep in mind that Darth Plagueis, if you go based on the Plagueis novel, that Plagueis was trying to create life. You know, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis. Okay. Remember, though, he didn't succeed. The whole thing about the Plagueis novel is that the Force retaliated against Plagueis for doing what he was doing, and it created Anakin to be the sort of counterbalance, you know, to fit into the whole Chosen One prophecy, destroying the Sith. Okay, so these
seems like I want some of that. You're gonna be mine.
So these witches, this random group of nobodies, managed to do what Darth Plagueis could not.
And
It's also funny because you think they'd be able to count us because 1, 2, many.
That's honestly hilarious.
What is that? The power of 1, the power of 2. What does that mean?
Hadouken!
Now, I gotta bring up the shit and it was in the intro because this is fucking hilarious. But that fucking clip from all those shills. You know who I'm surprised I didn't see in that fucking clip? Chlamydia Burns, as Mr. Grizzy would call her.
Ouch.
I didn't see her in there. Chlamydia Burns?
I can't remember.
Grace Randolph.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like Mr. Grizzy calls her Chlamydia Burns. Like, that was bothering me all fucking day, by the way. It's like, shit, what the fuck does he call her? Like, at work, I'm just working away, and it's like, still thinking, what does he call her? Like, I had to think about that. She wasn't even in the clip. But what I find hilarious about that video that we saw, that cringy, there's no space for hate in Star Wars, they deleted that.
They did.
Because it wasn't diverse enough. And that one guy, like, I was watching Geeks and Gamers this morning.
Mm-hmm.
When it got to that one guy, like, that guy's quite literally just reading a script off his computer.
Oh, yeah, he's not even making an effort
He's
to make
not even
it
at the camera.
Yeah. She's like, oh, I'm reading a script because I'm diverse and I support diversity and don't question it at all.
I can picture it right now. Behind his computer, there's Mickey Mouse right there. Oh, say this, you little bastard. Oh.
Oh, God. Or is it even worse that you mentioned that?
Idiotic 40%. Sad to be disconnected with Star Wars reality.
Yep. I was about to say. Oh, really? So he's reading off a script, huh? Huh. Maybe a long lost, unknown descendant of Joe Biden members.
But
I have to do that.
With those people, though, I just don't believe them. I just don't fucking believe them when they're talking about how great the Acolyte is. I don't buy it. Because
it's not even just when they say it's.
I don't like to get into the notion that people are being bought off just to give a positive opinion. I don't want to believe that, but at the same time, I can't deny it. And that's a fucking problem because this is how let me just take a loose quote from Padme. This is how criticism dies. With thunderous payoffs. Like, there you go. That's the best I could come up with.
Hey, man, the media and politics do it all the time.
Oh, I know.
You know, being bought off. Like, look, watch this now, all right? You can't sit there and tell me that when you have this woman shaking frothing at the mouth when somebody's just like walking. Like, oh my god, look how she's walking. Such grace, such elegance. Look,
He's
people
floating down. He's
Oh, he majored. That was cringy, by the way. Like, I can't believe that was Grace Randolph. Like, just
like
He
honestly.
made her.
Like back to the key jingling. Here we are again. But this isn't even key jingling. It's keychain jingling. There's no keys. And that's enough to wow them. Like there's there's fan service that will make you react like that, and then there's just simply something happened. A character walked through that door, and oh my god, the pattern on that door, that's the rebel symbol on the door. Like, who fucking cares? Like, by the way, if I were to see something like that where they would just have that crest on a random door somewhere in Disney Wars, I'm sure they'll do that. That would piss me off because, I mean, when it was revealed in the ending to Force Unleashed that was like Starkiller's family crest, and like this former apprentice of Vader's who realized that he's really just getting fucked over by this guy who killed his father, brought him up as a Sith, but he's starting to see the good in those of like fucking Jimmy Smith's Senator Organa, Bail Organa, my bad, and Master Coda there. Like, he's really starting to, and of course, his feelings towards Juno Eclipse. Like, when you get that scene where she realizes like that he's still serving Vader, you know, like the conflict in him is getting there. Like, he feels guilt. Like, I don't want to keep serving this guy. I can't do this. But I got to keep going along with it until I can figure something out. And the big thing he would have to do is save the rebels, and he sacrifices himself. And then just the way how they honor him, like, even though they realize, oh shit, he was Vader's apprentice, but still, that guy gave his fucking life just to save us. And we're going to build this rebellion, and we're going to use his family crest as our symbol of hope. That was such a fucking powerful moment, man. The fact that they even had the to that, perfect. Like,
nostalgia being
that's
used
great.
right, I would say.
Exactly. Like that. And I believe that would be great in canon. Like, that's where it came from. I could buy that. And you know what? Even light side or dark side, fuck that. Which symbol do you like more, Empire or the Rebels? Rebels for sure. That's an awesome crest. I'd tattoo that on me if I wanted.
Yep, and not to mention, and don't even get me started on the retconning of the Rebel symbol. Because in fucking Star Wars Rebels, Sabine draws that little phoenix thing, and somehow the rebellion adopts that symbol as the phoenix, the little spray painted phoenix. Sabine Wren.
Really? That's how they do it?
Yeah, that's how they did it.
I wouldn't know. I never saw Rebels.
Rebels, like maybe 45% of it is worth watching. Rest of it, you can take it or leave it.
What?
There's better expanded universe material to indulge in.
But back to those fucking shills. They, like, it doesn't even just take a lightsaber to wow them anymore. Like, let me put it to you this way. There could be like a fan service moment where at best I might just be like this. But I'm not going to say anything because it's not like I need to have my mind blown by everything, because you know what, Disney, you've become quantity over quality. And I'll tell you right now, I have watched a few episodes of Andor. And as far as their series are concerned, yes, it's the least Star Wars, but it's also the least Disney Wars. So there is that. But when I saw him pull out his fucking pistol, I recognized it. That was a Briar pistol, the same one Kyle Katarn uses. But I didn't freak out because, look, I love Kyle Katarn. But I just went, oh, that is that pistol. Neat. Like, that's the best. When that's the best positive reaction you could get out of someone, well, you might say that might do. Maybe I'm just keeping it in check, but does Star Wars need to do better? Does Disney Wars need to do better? Do you really need to wow me? Because you're not going to have a character walking around, and I'm just going to go, oh my God, he's walking, and oh my God, that looks like that tree that stormtrooper crashed into on Endor. Like, that's how easily swayed they are anymore, or they're pretending to.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
it's not just their reaction content either. I mean, like, again, stop crying. I don't buy it. But then with their reviews, I just can't stand listening to them talk sometimes, particularly Chlamydia Burns. Every time she talks, I am waiting for her to just start saying, and this one time at band camp, because that's what she talks like.
She Vadered.
Shut
Look,
up.
I'm going to be honest, all right? I got to say this. Some of those reactions genuinely made me want to punch my fist into a brick wall. Because it's not genuine.
No.
The reactions are not genuine at all. And I don't know what's cringier. The reactions themselves or the motivation behind them. Because you're trying to get on Disney's good side, and people like Louise Julie, like she went on Twitter and said that she's not getting any kind of special treatment. But you have people like she did. I forgot what it was. It was some kind of like I don't know if it was like a charity thing or some kind of promotion. A fish, in her words, of her being on official Star Wars promotion, and her name was on there or something. Then you had some of these other YouTubers that are literally in a photo with Dave Filoni. Oh, we're not getting special treatment. We're just fans like you. Yeah, you getting on your knees and doing you know what? Yeah, that's happening. That's happening. Your reactions are too over the top to be legitimate.
Yeah.
Look, we all have our, uppity up moments, right? We all have our moments where
I miss getting those anymore. But again, you can't just toss it in to a franchise or some series that's part of a bigger franchise and expect that to happen. It's just not going to work because we could see through it. Like, it's like how the theaters nowadays are playing classics. Like, when they were playing the Spider-Man movies in theaters, like, Chris was sending me videos from the theater, like how people are cheering at those moments that they resonated with us all those years ago. Like, that you're not going to get this shit in the future with this kind of shit. Because by the time you get there, like, these people, like, it's not going to matter to them. We're past that.
Yeah.
But I think I said this last week. I don't remember if we were off air or not, but just think about if you were to go see Return of the King on the big screen again and you were in a crowded theater, you're going to get those cheers. Because that's just simply put, it's a great fucking movie, but it's a story that fucking resonated with us, and we've been talking about it ever since. But think about the Charge of the Rohirrim scene. Like, I would kill to be in the theater for this. When Theoden is shouting death, and then the Rohirrim follow suit and shouting death, if the audience does the same thing along with the Rohirrim, like, that would be the theater experience to end theater experiences for me. Like, I thought it could have been Endgame, but it's not. I thought it could have been Spider-Man No Way Home, but it wasn't. Those were good experiences, but it's not the experience. Yeah. Like, now, I got into a bit of an argument with my brother about this because he said he hates when people clap in the theater. It's like, dude, I think you're missing the point. Like, we know they can't fucking hear us. We're just sharing the love that we just felt watching what we just saw. Like, again, even back in 2015, I guarantee no theater was quiet when the word Star Wars appeared on screen as soon as Force Awakens begun. No theater was quiet. Yeah, I guarantee that. Because the hype machine was in full force, as good as it's been, at least at that point, since 1999. Yeah. Maybe 2005, because Revenge of the Sith, I would say, was my most anticipated of the prequel trilogy.
Well, it's funny you say that because T-Con is sharing a little bit of a memory. So, remember
Mm.
2005 applause at the opening of Revenge of the Sith, opening but more the ending. So we back in '05, we went to a theater down in Austin, Texas that was hosting a early screening, a midnight screening of Revenge of the Sith. And at the time, my father and a buddy of his, they literally did an entire lightsaber fight. They choreographed for weeks training. They used fireworks to simulate force powers. We have a recording of it. It even made the news, the local news, a full on lightsaber fight, like just Revenge of the Sith style.
You gotta find this news clip, man.
Yeah,
we've been
you gotta
looking.
find
We've been looking for the news clip. We have our own recording, but the news
clip, that's the cherry on top. Is that it made the fucking news?
Right. So, but it was awesome. It was like picture a 10-year-old kid watching his dad go, toe to toe in a lightsaber fight. It was fast paced too. They spent weeks perfecting the lightsaber fights. We even had our own little boom box playing some Revenge of the Sith music mixed with Phantom Menace, Duel of the Fates. It was so cool. It was so cool.
And not to mention those big spotlight things, the ones that they do for premieres and stuff.
Yeah.
That was going on in the background as well.
It was one hell of an experience. Like, that alone was just amazing. Seeing your father just kick ass, with the lightsaber, it was awesome. And then being in the actual theater, seeing the 20th Century Fox intro come up, that was something that was always missing from the sequel trilogy, like that fanfare. You know what I mean? Like having that 20th Century Fox fanfare, that always follows suit with Star Wars. Like whenever I think of 20th Century Fox and their intro, Star Wars comes next. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Well, George Lucas actually did those versions of them, right? I mean, not
Yeah.
George Lucas, John Williams.
John Williams, yeah.
My bad. Fuck, what a dumbass. Me.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah.
Great point, Danner, with feeling the love. Yeah.
I mean, let me put it to you this way, and we got to do a watch along for this one, by the way. The movie Fanboys.
Okay.
I don't know if you know anything about that movie, but it's damn good, if you ask me. Basically, takes place in '98 with, a group of fanboys anticipating the release of, the Phantom Menace, but one of them is terminally ill, and he's not going to make it before the Phantom Menace releases. So they decide they're going to storm Skywalker Ranch to try and see it early. It's a silly concept, but goddamn did it work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I do want to point this out. So my dad and his friend had come up with their own names. So my father was Darth Malissar. That's what he called himself. And then his friend was Jedi Master Maitreya.
Those are pretty good names, actually.
Credit to them. They came up with it. And it was partially, you can also partially thank Nice the Old Republic, because my dad's friend is the one that lent us the Xbox to try out the game.
Ooh.
A long time ago. Never got past the first level. And it appears history has repeated itself. But I am determined to get the game working on PC so I can play through. But as I already told you, I'm not playing it without you. You're going to be right there. But no, it's. I hope for everyone watching, giving us sharing these different experiences, to understand that we love this franchise. And I think that people on the opposite side of us forget that we're coming from a place where we've been with this franchise almost all our lives. Okay. We have a love and appreciation for what came before. And we're seeing what's coming out now as a stark contrast to what came before. This new stuff is not honoring the old. In the words of Kylo Ren, let the past die, kill it if you have to. And in this particular case, they're killing it by any means necessary. They're creating new stuff that's violating the old, and they're also altering the old stuff. So we're getting hit from all angles, right?
Yeah.
Just understand that calling people blind haters because they don't like all the new stuff. Like, if you have channels that are dedicated to taking a giant dump on Disney Star Wars, just remember, it's coming from people who are fans of these franchises or of this franchise. Okay, these aren't random people that just want to be trolls for the sake of being trolls. Look,
You go to Twitter for that, and
That's true.
you'll find a few of them, or Disney will find a few of them. They'll cherry pick them, and then they'll lump us into the same group, and that's where the narrative starts. We're the toxic ones.
look at this. When the content that's taking a giant dump on Disney Wars is more entertaining than the Disney Wars stuff itself, you know there's a problem.
Someone said that on Jeremy Johns' one of his reviews of the Acolyte, actually, like because he asked because that's what he asked at the end of the video. Like, are you watching the Acolyte or are you just watching videos dumping on the Acolyte? And people were saying, yeah, I'm doing that because that's infinitely more entertaining to people now.
Just watch Disparu, literally 40+ minute videos where he's going through in certain scenes and he's just Hadouken, in the intro. It's funny, but it's sad, right? It's funny and it's sad. It's like a really bad tragedy, like a Greek tragedy, right? Where it's like we're looking at something that we love that's being paraded around like a corpse on a string, and it's like, oh yeah, you remember Star Wars? Well, this is me violating what you love, because it's not about fighting what we hate. It's about violating what you love and praising what you hate. I don't know. I'm spitting random things out at this point.
Well, I mean, the fact that you decided to spin that quote of all things, I mean, I spin one of Padme's quotes and you spin one of Rose's quotes. How dare you?
But, I mean, Disney Wars.
I mean, we will hate it if it's bad. We're going to, like it or not. And this is where I refuse to say that we're the toxic ones, simply because we say, yeah, I don't like this. And then, oh, you're toxic, it's the phobe, all that. Like, I'll tell you who the real toxic ones are. Those who cannot fucking handle it who is arguably the biggest Star Wars YouTuber on the platform, by the way, doesn't like the Acolyte. That, of course, being Star Wars Theory. Because, look, you can like whatever you like. You can dislike whatever you dislike. I can disagree. I can agree with you. But to send people death threats, I do not condone that for even a microsecond. So, to all you people out there who are sending death threats and talking about publicly beheading Star Wars Theory, let me tell you, we're not the toxic ones. You are. You are the ones advocating for death because of an opinion of a fucking show. How did we get here? I'll tell you one thing. These people do not understand the importance of criticism. No, criticism is not a weapon we use to bring down the aspiring filmmakers who wanted to tell a story. No, criticism is to be taken as a lesson. Like, sure, you might sit here and say, well, what do you know? You never made anything. No, but I've watched a lot of this, and I began to study it and understand what makes the story brought to us from this medium good or bad. Like, you look at, like, agreeing and disagreeing on something will always be a thing. And I think it should stick around, but just keep it healthy. Like, look at the godfathers of film criticism, Siskel and Ebert. Like, they disagreed a lot. And we, as the viewers, will disagree with them a lot. Like, there could be movies that they will say they either liked or disliked, and we'll look at them and go like, what are you, fucking crazy? Or they'll say it to each other, like Home Alone 3. Gene Siskel hated it. Roger Ebert liked it, calling it better than the first two, to which Gene Siskel straight up said, are you okay? Like, but again, the back and forth between the two, not only was it entertaining, you got a good sense of how different they felt, but it was fun to watch. And again with the whole disagreeing thing, like Gene Siskel, this is going to be a shocker. He didn't like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Now that is like that. We're going to have moments like that where, like, even with whether it be with professional critics or just regulars like us, where we're not going to agree. Like, but there is no perfect harmony when having an opinion on something. But these people fail to realize that, so they engage in damage control by calling the other side who disagrees toxic. And it's not really damage control because it's deeply unfocused and unproductive. You're not doing anything besides doing shit that I would consider to be grossly immoral, because you are quite literally advocating for the beheading of someone who didn't like a show. That is disgusting, and I hate it. But another reason, but here's the real reason why criticism is so fucking important. They will take, as long as our criticisms are legit, and they could take it and say, maybe you're right. Maybe we have something to improve on. Maybe it won't even be them who have to improve on something. Maybe someone else will look at it and say, okay, we're hearing what people are saying. We'll try to avoid that. You know what a good case of that is? The superhero genre. 1997. It nearly fucking died because of a certain movie you might have heard of. Yeah, don't judge. I collect VHS tapes. But yeah, this movie damn near killed the genre and was pretty much unanimously hated by a lot of people. There might have been some out there who enjoyed how stupid it was, and that's fine. I enjoy it for being a dumb movie, but it's still a bad movie. I'm not disputing that. Mm-hmm. But I hold that movie as an example because we made an example of that movie. Critics, audiences, and filmmakers alike, we all pointed at Batman and Robin and basically said, okay, this is how you don't do a superhero movie. Just don't do this. You might get on the right track, or you'll get back on track, because we did get good comic book movies before that. And right. Look what happened. And even with that backlash, all that backlash that Batman and Robin got, were they calling the people who disliked it toxic, istophobic, patently evil people? No. George Clooney apologized for it. Joel Schumacher apologized for it. And even the fact that they admitted that it was bad just shows how it was better back then, because they took it a lot better, because people weren't as ego driven as they are now. We're coming to that. Like, again, Schumacher saying, look, I understand the movie was bad. I didn't want it to be bad. I'm sorry it was. Like, apology accepted, man. You made what might be my favorite movie of all time. Okay? I'll give you that. Like, and even with Chris O'Donnell saying that, like, this one, I felt like we were just making a toy commercial. And look what happened to the superhero genre after we said, don't do it like this. We got Blade. We got X-Men. We got Spider-Man. They all got sequels, which were arguably better. And then Nolan came along and was like, okay, you know what? Batman deserves a do-over. Look what we got. And then eventually Marvel was like, okay, well, they're getting some big hits with Batman. Who can we have? Iron Man? Hey, can we kick off an entire universe with this guy? Sure, let's give it a shot. Look what happened. Now, sure, eventually it reached the peak and went down. But hey, you had a good run.
You know, everything you just said, there's a term that has been going around for a while now. And it really is a stupid term. It's a very stupid term. It's called fan entitlement. They will take everything you just said and say that, and I don't want to put words in people's mouths. This is just my interpretation of that meaning, okay, of that phrase. Yeah.
He's used that term.
Yeah. The idea is that, well, fans have too much power. You know, filmmakers should be able to do what they want, and, you know, who cares what the critics say? But it's like you already said. You gave an entire speech about it. Fantastic. Okay, it's very important that we take the criticisms, because it helps to make us better. And that is a mentality that we can apply outside of entertainment as well. You know, taking criticisms, improving on the human condition.
Yeah, life itself, man.
So when people throw around the term fan entitlement, which then goes in line with toxic fan, like a great example is the design for Sonic the Hedgehog for the live action movie.
You were going there.
People universally despised that design because it wasn't a good design. So they went with something that was more in line with the classic design. And look, we already have 2 movies, and it's getting a 3rd film.
Which I'm excited for. Like, and they call that entitlement. No, it's just simple. It was just as simple as that design is horrible. I don't want to see this now. And then what did the director do? He did the smart thing. Now, I'm not going to pretend that he was being very sincere, but because you also got to look at it that the filmmaking industry is still a business and that there's money to be made. And like for an IP like Sonic, one of the most popular video game mascots of all time, particularly for Sega, but like obviously, but the point is like they probably saw potential. Like, they saw potential, so it's like, okay, can we even launch a franchise of this if people don't even have interest because of that horrible design? Well, screw it. We got the time, we got the money. We'll push it back. We'll just make them look more cartoony like he does in the games, and we'll see where we go from there. And then when next trailer drops, and everyone was just like, okay, that's better. And overall, at the end of the day, it was a win-win. Like it got pretty good reviews. Like, sure, it wasn't perfect by any means. It was kind of derivative of movies I've seen before, but it did it well. And it made a lot of money at the box office, and you got a sequel, which was even better. And like you said, we got a 3rd movie on the way. And I'll tell you, like, that mid-credit scene in Sonic 2, when they show Shadow, that was the first time in a while where I got to hear the audience erupt. Because, yeah, people are fucking excited because, I mean, I don't know if you played Sonic Adventure 2, but Shadow is a fan favorite.
I'm very much familiar with it.
Okay.
What do you think about all this, Carter?
Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just lost.
No, we want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I did like how the first. I'm gonna go off and talk about the Sonic movie, first one. Like when we saw the trailer for it and how he looked, that was cringe, nightmare fuel. But at least the people who wrote it did actually listen to the fans and told them to fix it. And guess what? It was better. It was fucking better. They did a good job on it. At least when you have that's the thing that Hollywood fucking needs. Criticism, like positive criticism, not like that's not how I want it to be. So you got a white guy beating a black person in the old west and shit. No, make it the other way around. Like no, just no.
But then,
or have it both ways.
It's still going to be problematic to them no matter which way you go. But on that note of what you just said about positive criticism, it's not about being necessarily positive criticism. It's more about using even the most negative criticism. I mean, don't go too far, like flinging insults and death threats, but you use legit criticism as positive reinforcement. Like that's the important part. That's the fucking key there.
Constructive criticism.
Exactly. But like I was saying, like a lot of people that are in the business now, they're a bunch of fucking narcissists. Like they are so fucking far past being capable of self-reflection that they think they can't possibly create garbage. Well, as a connoisseur of garbage myself, I'm here to tell you otherwise.
I was going to mention it earlier. You know, where we literally have a live stream series dedicated to watching garbage movies. And
I still have my limits, by the way.
Yeah, of course. We find movies that are completely ridiculous that, like, no, not even worth watching. And we have others like this one.
Well, you just take the damn shrink wrap off that thing. I
know, but it's perfectly preserved. I don't know.
Fair.
Kind of weird thing.
Well, who knows? Maybe one of the lead actresses will come to a convention near you and then get her to sign it. And then, okay, now you signed my copy of Hard Ticket to Hawaii. Mind if I sign your chest? I mean, she was obviously they weren't afraid to show him a lot in that movie.
Like, damn,
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
Dude, I haven't seen that much titty since Girls Gone Wild, Spring Breaker edition.
And of course, there was Samurai Cop, right?
Oh God!
But the nudity in that was nowhere near as exciting.
It was
cringy in your words, right?
It was like
it was
cringy. It was
too slow.
No. It was like someone filming amateur porn on an 80 millimeter.
Not even an 80 millimeter, like an RCA camcorder.
Yes, that's even worse. It was like, wow.
Complete with the VHS tape inside.
So I put up a poll earlier tonight during the stream, and I've been watching it. I was a little concerned for a second, guys, for those of you that are watching. So it was a question: is the Acolyte any good? For the first, I want to say 30 to 40 minutes of the stream, the score was sitting at 50-50.
Oh, God.
I was concerned because somebody actually said, oh, yeah, it is good.
Who the fuck said that?
Have you not been listening to what we've been telling you? But then it started to shift. And so as of right now, as you know, we're coming towards the end, it's at a 71% no and a 29% yes. So people are smart. They know. You've been listening to us. You've been listening to people that have been watching it, or you have done the insane thing and watch it yourselves.
I mean, more power to you if you were willing to endure it.
Right.
But I'm not falling for, like, let me put it this way. It's like the red letter media shit again. And as a matter of fact, that's what the whole clip from episode 3 kind of reminds me of, where they're all wearing the, like, red letter media, where they're all wearing the fucking Mickey caps.
Loyalty to Disney. Loyalty to the brand. Loyalty is salvation. Loyalty is life.
I mean that, I think that chant has more dignity than the power of money.
Oh.
I mean, you know, it's funny you mentioned red letter media, because I think it's a perfect time to answer or to ask this question. So, how does it feel to live long enough to see all your favorite franchises go up in flames? Oh, feels great.
Oh, so
if anybody remembers that clip.
Oh yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, I apologize.
Throw it at us.
The one thing the two things that really screwed us over, I will get to them in a moment. But the one thing, I swear to God, I thought that Star Wars from Disney was going to be fixed. I thought it was going to be fixed. Season 2 finale of The Mandalorian. When we fucking see Luke Skywalker, spoilers, arrive at his X-Wing, fucking shit up. When we saw the fucking hilt of the lightsaber and the color of it, we know damn well who it was.
Even if it was from the X-Wing.
Oh, of course. But like we don't like,
or the cloaked figure,
or duh. Yeah, but the one.
Well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that, though. You know why? Really quick, because we talked about Star Wars Theory. We all remember his emotional reaction, and that wasn't so much the issue. It was more so the reaction to his reaction, specifically from certain people in Lucasfilm, like Pablo Hidalgo, where, you know, because the clip went viral. Okay, because Star Wars Theory has a lot of personal history with the character of Luke Skywalker. From what I remember, and I'm paraphrasing, correct me if I'm wrong, but Star Wars Theory, when he was younger, was dealing with an illness. Okay, I don't remember what it was, but he was really sick, and what got him through it was the character of Luke Skywalker, not giving up on his father, you know, trying to bring him back from the dark side. So Star Wars Theory has a lot of personal love for Luke Skywalker. Okay, so seeing what we thought was the OG, you know, the good old Luke Skywalker that wasn't a damn hermit. Okay, he got emotional.
Skywalker.
Yeah, he got emotional. All right, and then Pablo Hidalgo said something along the lines of people shouldn't be sharing their emotions publicly or something to that effect. It taking a total dump on Star Wars Theory, and really, at this point, with everything that's happened, especially with the Acolyte, if you're not already understanding that Lucasfilm and Disney do not give a damn about how you feel about Star Wars, whether good or bad, unless you're a shill. And then with the firing of Gina Carano, this is not a good company. These are not the same people that gave us the original trilogy and the prequels. Okay, this is not.
They
the same
really
group.
aren't.
Yeah,
like they really, literally, they're not.
But anyway, as I was saying, when we saw Luke fighting off those fucking Death Trooper knockoff looking things, the cyborg ones, and we hear the music and we see him going all Rogue One, Darth Vader hallway on them. There was a chance right there. That scene alone, we had a big fucking chance of hope. Only for that hope to get, only for us to get fucking high water low bridged by doing the Book of Boba Fett, where we see Luke creating the Jedi Temple in the fucking Force Awakens, and the firing of Gina Carano. And
one scene is not enough to be what I would call a glimmer of hope. Just a really good scene on its own.
A nice reminder of better times.
Exactly.
I mean, a good scene that's on its own. I mean, I've seen that happen many times, and it doesn't 100% work on me. Like, I have my issues with the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, I don't consider it to be a great Spider-Man movie. It sure as hell is not a perfect Spider-Man movie, Chris. But sorry. A perfect Spider-Man movie would have Jameson in it. Let's just agree on that. But when it got to Gwen Stacy's death, on its own merits, that was a good scene. Like, sure, it's kind of interesting to bring in the whole Goblin dropping Gwen to her death storyline. Problem was, I didn't feel much for it. Like, when you look at it at face value, like, is it sad to look at because Emma Stone fucking died? Yes. Is Andrew Garfield's performance here really good? Yes. But we saw it coming because they fucking spoiled it in the trailer. And what happened after The Amazing Spider-Man 2? They canned that franchise, and then, to No Way Home's credit, they completed his arc, and actually they made him the best Spider-Man in that movie, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Pretty bold, but I have to agree.
Yeah, because with the knowledge of what happened, he didn't want that to happen again to somebody else.
Yeah, that's why it was so good, and that's why I hate why people laughed at that scene, because he got emotional.
That still baffles me. That tells me that those people didn't see The Amazing Spider-Man 2, so that scene, it doesn't click.
Or they're just too fucking used to the Marvelized humor that, like, they're so accustomed to that shit now. Like, everything has to be a fucking joke to them. But it's like, this isn't funny. Like, and that was the theater moment where I really wish I was with Brett, man. Because when we were talking about predictions on Bacon's channel, he predicted that would happen. And I just wanted to just slap him on the back and say, you were fucking right. You fucking called it, my man.
To get back to Carter and that little glimmer of hope thing, let us be reminded of what had happened at that point. Rise of Skywalker had finished its turd run. We were given a Palpatine, a flipping Palpatine, usurping the name of Skywalker and bearing the evidence of their lies, their existence, in a desert. If that isn't a cover-up, I don't know what is. So, look, there's no way they were going to retcon the sequel trilogy. There were a lot of people that were doing a lot of hopium that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau were going to save Star Wars. We know now, no, not even sort of. We had Book of Boba Fett humiliating Boba Fett as a character after bringing him back. Obi-Wan Kenobi humiliating him. See, because they finished off with the original trilogy characters, so we had to do the prequel characters now. It won't be long before they start going into the Old Republic. Just watch. They're going to make a fool out of Darth Revan. Darth Nihilus. Oh, look, he can consume planets with the Force. We're gonna make him a sympathetic douchebag. Or I don't know. I'm just being
Okay. If you're going to make any Sith Lord sympathetic, it's not Nihilus.
But considering that the
when I-
Acolyte, well, think about the Acolyte, because they're talking about, it's not good and not about good or evil. It's about power.
But it fucking is. Now, you could go deeper into the good versus evil and find more complexity to it if you want, but you can't just keep saying, "Oh, maybe they're just misguided." Like, no. I mean, especially with someone like Nihilus. Like, I've said this before. If was put in the right fucking hands, and if they were going to make a movie around him, they would have to make it a bit more horror. Because he's a fucking scary character.
Yeah.
Like, everything about him. Like, just look. I remember last year when I went to that convention, there was a cosplayer dressed just like him. Like, perfect cosplay. It's just, I'm looking at him with my eyes wide and just like, fuck. Like, if you ever see the cutscenes where he's fucking talking, it's like, what is he saying? But oh, that's insulting. That is just fucking insulting.
Sorry.
Like, I mean, for all we know, if Disney wanted to bring him around, that's probably what they would do. They'd actually just recycle audio from the Peanuts just to do that. So
make a joke. I mean, they don't mind doing it. We've seen them violate
they'll
every
make
character.
They'll make Revan non-binary or something because
they're already talking about that, aren't they?
I know, but canonically, Revan is a fucking man. Now, sure, you can maybe play with that shit yourself, but that's only if you're playing the games. Like, if you wanted to make your character female in Knights of the Old Republic, that's fine. But then it turns out it's Revan. Okay. I find that hard to believe, but okay. But then even in Knights of the Old Republic 2, with certain dialogue choices that you could make, because the dialogue choices you make in that game, like, you can keep it in continuity with however you did it in the game before. Like, obviously, for both games, you got to play them at least twice. You got to go light side, you got to go dark side, but I like to keep them consistent. Like, okay, light side for both games, and I'll just keep them in the same timeline. Dark side for both games, keep them in the same timeline. Like, in my version, Revan, when he learned who he was, he wanted to take back what was taken from him, or he wanted to redeem himself, whichever. But no matter which way he goes, that's an interesting story. Yeah. And they'd fuck it. They would fuck it.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Gina Carano, what's the update about that whole court thing? Is it still going down or what?
From what I heard, yes, but I haven't heard too much about it recently. Last thing I heard earlier this month, they were in Los Angeles doing for a court hearing. I haven't been following it though, so I haven't heard anything big so far. But who knows? I guess we'll have to see. Yeah. I'm going to end the poll now because we are reaching the 2-hour mark. So the finishing results are, is the Acolyte any good? 71% of you, smart enough, said no. To the 28% of you that said yes, we're going to have a talk. Or just replay the stream and think about your choices.
Or load them up on a train and take them to a re-education camp.
No, we don't want to do that. It's better to have civil conversations.
I would much rather have that. We've had those before here on the show. Trust me. I look back fondly at those moments, by the way.
Before you officially joined the family. I remember that.
Yeah. Officially.
You were here. You were here quite a bit before officially joining. Sorry, reminiscing. It's good to reminisce about old times, right?
Indeed.
That's what we're doing here. Despite all the BS,
we do it with Star Wars, for God's sakes.
We have to, otherwise we go insane. It's like, I can still look at a Darth Vader mask and say, "Man, Revenge of the Sith, 2005." I remember going to Walmart with my dad at 12 midnight when they were doing a midnight release of Revenge of the Sith toys. I remember being there with my dad, watching them have. aisles full of Star Wars stuff. I'm like, yes, Vader toys, Anakin toys. It's like, oh, he Vadered.
Oh God!
But it was good. It was good. I miss those days. I miss the days when Star Wars used to fill up entire aisles at the store.
Well, maybe when parents stop giving these to their kids. Well, I mean, then again, there's the shit with Disney and how their products have failed to resonate with everyone. But even if you wanted to bank on some of the, like, you want the figures that are of beloved characters, they might sell, but I don't even care to get them. I mean, sure, I might buy a lightsaber or two, but I want to fight with them more than anything. But
well, just remember
the generation that grew up playing toys, like, do kids still play with toys anymore? Like with action figures?
I mean,
that I don't even know anymore.
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just keep them boxed up.
Well, regardless, I mean, that is important because I would probably say that it's not happening as much as it used to. Yeah. That being said, going back to an earlier point, Star Wars as a public brand is tainted to the point where, I mean, you'll have collectible items that might have been worth something more back before Disney started shiting the bed, Amber Turd style, right? Okay. The problem is that because they being Disney, have done what they've done to the brand, some of these things aren't as appealing anymore. Like, there's literally a store in Austin, Texas, that is a Star Wars store for toys. And they have a whole bunch of stuff. It's really cool. The problem is that, well, first of all, it's really expensive. Like, they literally had a few Black Series Gina Carano figures there. They're charging like $300 a pop. Granted, remember that Hasbro discontinued the Gina Carano Cara Dune figures after the whole controversy. So that might be one of the reasons. That being said, Star Wars is a tainted brand. And the only way to course correct would be to get it out of Disney's hands and get it in the hands of people that actually care. I mean, if you have fan films that can do a better job than the mainline stuff, that tells you a lot. You just got to get the right people to do the job, and they're there. There are plenty of people, I'm sure, that would love to make some Star Wars films to fix. The only problem is, you know, we're never going to see the original trilogy characters together again.
Never again.
No,
it's over.
Not to mention Harrison Ford fucking hates Star Wars.
That doesn't really matter, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, especially these days.
Yeah.
Especially
I mean,
these days.
I still wonder how they were even able to convince him to even come back for the Rise of Skywalker.
That is a very good question, isn't it?
Or,
I mean, maybe he learned how short it was going to be, and it's like, all right, let's go get this over with.
I'm going to bring up this comment from T-Con here. I will get a T-shirt made that states Star Wars and Peter Jackson, what if? Peter Jackson to fix Star Wars. Because my dad loves Lord of the Rings. And you take the epicness of Lord of the Rings and what Peter Jackson was able to do, and then mix it with Star Wars, you might have a pretty good recipe of stuff.
But those shots in that episode, they look of the Acolyte, they looked like shots from Lord of the Rings. You know, they're walking on the hillside there.
Characters walking equals Lord of the Rings. Got it.
Again, that's another problem I have with modern entertainment in general. It's always where it's got to be, it's like that other franchise. It's like that one. Can you just draw inspiration from the one that you are quite literally in? I mean, it's like with the Crow remake. When people were saying, it looks like a John Wick-like movie. Yeah, it looks like a John Wick movie, just really lame, fucking ugly looking. And you take inspiration from John Wick with a Crow movie instead of taking inspiration from, I don't know, the fucking Crow. Because you look back at that original movie, it was like it had its own unique identity from an aesthetic standpoint. It was a gothic fucking movie. That was the first R-rated movie that this guy ever saw. So it will always have a special place right here. Like, even with that movie, like, I'm not going to see this new one.
And not to mention,
I just don't fucking care.
Oh yeah, T-Con.
They already have.
Yeah,
it's coming out later this year, but it was getting pushed back. I think it's coming out in August or something. But I'm not going to see it.
It is
because to quote Mr. James Rolfe, why would I pay money to see something I'm probably not going to like because it looks awful? And we all know where that got him for some reason.
Oh yeah, Ghostbusters 2016.
Because how dare you not want to see a movie?
I'm going to make a non-review. That's what he said, right? He's like, instead
a
of
non-review.
Yeah.
Because I refuse. The fact that, again, that's where the real toxicity is where people start making these stupid articles complaining about, internet celebrity refuses to watch Ghostbusters. Oh, boo fucking who?
It's almost like these people are taking the criticisms of these shows personally.
Yeah. Like, all of it. It's like they adapted the Brie Larson mindset. Is that like a personal attack or something?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is a personal attack. Because
to them it is. I mean, I was watching Watch Mojo's fucking this one they did today. Top 10 movies that take place in one day. You know what movie I didn't see on that list? Falling Down.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I didn't see it on the list, and I took that personally. Okay, but I did leave a comment like Falling Down. But I just add the comment just for the sake of there's one.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off?
That was on the list.
Oh, it was?
BTW, I have not seen the recent Ghostbusters flick. Any feedback?
Are we talking about Frozen Empire?
Yeah.
We're talking about Frozen Empire.
I haven't seen
it. Was
it yet.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard lukewarm to...
It was just okay. Like, I'd call it a big step down from Afterlife, but... I mean...
Really, I think they should have just kind of ended it there. I mean, look, I like the idea of more Ghostbusters movies. It's just... Someone fucked up when we couldn't get the original 4 back together before Harold Ramis passed away. So it's like,
Ghostbusters.
I hate to say it, Bill Murray played a part in that because he was the holdout. Between those 4, he was the holdout. So, like, I'm not putting all the blame on him, and some may joke about it, Red Letter Media, but still, and I like what they were able to do with Afterlife. Like, I actually thought that part when they look at the Ghost of Egon, that was actually pretty powerful shit. And then after that, where you get the For Harold card, like that was great. And maybe I'm biased, but because I drive by some of those filming locations, like I got to see even more of them on my most recent road trip. I'm like, and now when I watch movies, like, hey, I know that place. I don't know. That's always going to be something that I always love about movies that actually do location shooting, because once you see where they filmed it, you want to check it out for yourself.
Yeah.
It's way better than doing it in some studio backlot or some shit.
True. Sometimes the studio backlot is iconic, though. Sometimes it is. Sometimes
the magic isn't as interesting for me, though. It can be interesting on some level, but once you I could be going, I don't know, I could find some of the roads that you see in fucking X-Files, or find wherever they shot the episode Shapes.
Was that in Canada?
It was season 1. Seasons 1 through 5 were all shot in Canada. I mean, I even took that picture of those mountains when I was on that road trip last year, and you even said, "Hey, this kind of reminds me of the episode Shapes." Like, we weren't that close to it, but okay, I see what you mean.
Close enough, right?
It gave me vibes. Maybe even Darkness Falls to some extent.
Did one too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap it up for the night. It's one hell of a battle we fought. Interesting poll. Had me worried there for a second. Had a couple new faces. Let's scroll back through. So we had Manos DD.
Manos Hands of Fate.
Once again, welcome to the Dark Ether Files. We also had someone I didn't address It was Grand Admiral Haktua. That's that new meme, which I haven't seen yet. I've heard so much about it, but
I'll say this, Grand Admiral Haktua. I don't care for that meme, but I like your image there of fucking Norm Macdonald as fucking Turd Ferguson there.
So, of course, T-Con. So, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been nice being back in the war and pop culture. More stuff to talk about, non-Star Wars related, but I think that a 2-hour stream talking about the most recent Disney Wars installments is plenty, right? Mm-hmm. Get the Disney Wars out of our system. Of course, we'll eventually have to come back because once the Acolyte ends and we get the full picture, I'm sure there's more to come.
Oh, yeah.
There's stuff we didn't talk about, kind of glossed over. I was just focused on certain points, mainly to do with episodes 3 and 5, because those two were the most retarded for me. And again, I didn't watch them. I watched them through the eyes of Disparu, which you saw him in the intro. Go subscribe to him.
That's the only way you could do it anymore.
These
Watch
days,
through the eyes of someone else.
Yeah.
I'm not paying for this shit. I don't even have a D+ account, okay?
There you go. So, I do have Disparu's channel linked in the description. So if you guys haven't heard of Disparu, which if you haven't, where have you been? But go check him out. He's very entertaining. I watch his videos every day, and that's not me boasting. He's entertaining. He has a lot of good content. So make sure you go subscribe to him. As far as what we've got coming up, well, I'll let Danner take the reins on this because it's all for him.
Okay. It's my birthday month coming up real fucking soon. So we're going to kick back in July, and it's going to be a joyous time. We're going to be watching movies that all starred my celebrity crush, Anya Taylor-Joy. 4 weeks of joy. What movies are they going to be? I'm pretty sure they're all going to be rooted in horror. So stay tuned for that coming this July.
I'm just going to show these just for posterity. Yes, that is a thing. But even better, if your mind is scarred, you're welcome.
Mine sure isn't. I got butterflies.
I bet you do. So, a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. Their names will be in the end credits. And with that all being said, thank you all, both old and new fans. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember that the entertainment is out there.
Welcome to the war.
I'm Special Agent Spooky Clutter.
I'm Special Agent Carter Sauce.
Special Agent Dr. Richtofen. And until next time, fellow investigators, remember.
The entertainment
is out there.
is out there.